As a business owner, building your team can be absolutely life-changing, incredible, give you all the freedom and empowerment that you want to take control of your day. Or it could be the most stressful thing you've ever done and make you want to quit your business and go back to work for someone else. In this video, I'm going to give you my 4 tips on building an incredible team so that you can achieve the first outcome and not the second. So building a team is really, really important for you to be able to gain the time freedom that you want. When you became an entrepreneur, most likely it was to achieve a degree of time freedom and control of how you spend your time, and not just the financial reward that is possible when you really achieve high levels of success as an entrepreneur. The issue that a lot of entrepreneurs have is when it comes to actually building a team, especially if you've never done it before, it can be very overwhelming, it can be very daunting, and you may be hesitant to do it because you might have the mindset of, oh, no one's going to do this as well as I can, or I don't really know where to start, or what if I hired the wrong person, or maybe you'll hear from someone else that only has had bad experiences with hiring people. But I'm telling you from experience, because I've done it wrong, and then eventually I figured out how to do it right, that when you build the right team, you bring in the right people, it really is life-changing. You know, you are one hire away from changing your life, from blowing up your business completely in a good way or in a bad way. So these 4 tips I'm going to give you right now are going to provide some clarity and some structure, regardless of the industry you're in and regardless of the people you're hiring. It could be admin. It could be just some independent contractors that aren't employees that are just an hourly rate. It could be salespeople. I mean, really anyone. These 4 tips are going to be really, really beneficial for you. So let's dig in. Number 1, realize that the culture of your organization is created by the people that work there. In his book, The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster by Darren Hardy, what a fantastic book. I love that book. It's required reading for anyone that I coach in the beginning of our time working together. All the agents on my team, any entrepreneur at any point in their career should really read this book. It's very, very good. But he talks about the fact that culture is created by the people that work at the company. And he tells this story where he was at one time having dinner with the CEO of the Marriott hotel chain. So obviously there's, hundreds and hundreds, thousands of hotels this guy owns. And Darren says to him that every time he goes to the hotels, he's really blown away by the customer service. The people are super friendly. They go above and beyond the call of duty. And he asks the CEO, how do you train your people to be so friendly and to kind of have that vibe and that culture of your company? And the CEO said, well, we don't train our people to be friendly. I just hire really friendly people. And what a light bulb moment that was for me. Because as a business owner, especially if you've never hired people before, there's definitely, I think, a potential to have a vision of, sitting in a boardroom on the whiteboard and you say, here is our company culture. We're going to be hardworking. We're going to be supportive, right? And you kind of tell people what the culture is. And that is a recipe for disaster for sure, because you need to hire the people that have the traits you're looking for. So under tip number 1 of realizing that culture is created by the people that work in your organization, realize that you need to hire the people that have the character traits that you are looking for. Because I have found you can't teach character. You just can't teach character. You can, if someone has the right character traits, you can mold them, and you can obviously teach the skill set that is required in your business. As an example, one of the companies I own is the Pathway Home Real Estate Group. We're an independent brokerage here in Austin, Texas, of real estate agents, residential agents. And a lot of the agents I hire are brand new. And so what I look for in those agents, obviously they don't have real estate experience, and that's okay, because I'm really good at teaching people how to do real estate. What I can't teach them is how to work hard. I can't teach them to be relentless. I can't teach them to have, grit. I can't teach them to want something really, really bad. Now, if they have those character traits, what I can do is teach them how to focus in, how to take that grit, that determination, that consistency, that burning desire, that motivation. I can teach them how to utilize all that energy they have and focus it in and put it towards something and really build an incredible career for themselves. But if someone doesn't want to work hard, you can't make them want to work hard. You just can't. If someone does want to work hard, then you teach them the skills that they need and they're going to take it and run with it. You're going to give them the framework to do that. But character is something that the people come to you, they have it or they don't. Now, if the baseline is there, you can certainly mold that. So if someone really wants to work hard, then you can teach them how to work hard and how to work smart and how to really develop that skill set. If someone has an innate foundation of grit and maybe they just don't know how to be more consistent with it, you can take that. As long as there's enough of a flame burning for you to be able to pour some fuel on it and make it bigger, that's awesome. And that's what you're looking for. But if someone just doesn't have the character traits that you want, I really don't think, based on my experience, that you can teach that. There has to be an innate level of character traits of the ones that you're looking for that are going to make up your company. So be really careful when you're interviewing people, when you go through the process, when you're talking to them and you're vibing them out. Do they display the character traits that you want your culture to be? Going back to my real estate company, we are a company of incredibly hardworking agents. We're supportive. We're friendly. We lift each other up. We don't gossip. We don't have a victim mentality. We don't talk bad about each other. So these aren't things I'm telling people, here's how we do it at my company. I just look for those character traits when I'm interviewing with them, when we have our conversations, when we have our interview with our 34 interview questions. These are things that I'm looking for. And if I get the vibe that they're not friendly, that they're not supportive, if they have a victim mentality, I'm not going to hire them. Because that's just how they are, and I'm not going to change that. And I guarantee you, and I tell this from experience, because I used to hire those kind of people, it will come back to bite you in the booty for sure. One day it will. And you're going to go, wow, that was not worth it. I wasted a ton of time, poured into these people, spent time, money, resources on these people. Bad idea. Huge mistake. So be real careful about that, okay? No hire is better than a bad hire. Make sure you understand that one. On the second note of that culture aspect is you need to maintain the culture, meaning you have to be able to get together frequently enough. There has to be a vision. You always want to be reminding people of what the vision and the mission and the culture is of the company, because your people will stay. You will have better retention when they feel like they're part of something. That was a really big struggle for me, because I am very much of the mindset, hey, tell me what I need to do, leave me alone, and I'm going to do my thing. But there's still something that if I'm part of an organization, like that's my business, but if I'm part of another organization or a mastermind or doing a project with a group of people, then it is great to get together and feed off of each other. There's a huge energy there. And so once you have that culture, you need to maintain it. Because if your people don't feel like they're part of something, if they don't feel like they're valued, if they don't feel important, if they don't feel like other people are counting on them, they're not going to stay. Eventually, it's going to get old, and they're going to seek out somewhere where they feel more like they're part of a community. That's just human nature, to need to feel like part of a community. That's just innate in our DNA, in our evolution. So make sure you're providing that to them. Make sure you're providing an opportunity for them to feel like they're part of something. You know, my real estate company is a virtual company, but we still have an hour of Zoom training every morning. We get together there. We get together for in-person training a few times a month. We have happy hours. We have team building events. We talk all throughout the day. So there's definitely a culture there. And so it's important, again, just to reiterate, make sure you maintain that culture and allow your people to feel part of something. Tip number two, think about what really needs to be delegated. Because when you're building a team, obviously one of the first questions you have is, who am I hiring? What are they going to do? I know I'm at the point where I can't do all this myself. So who do I hire? What should they be doing? I really encourage you to think about that, write it down, and get some clarity on it. You don't just want to make a post or a job description that says, I need help with my business. You need to be very clear about what it is that you need help with. And to do that, you just simply prioritize. Ask yourself, what are the most important things I should be doing that only I can do that will make the most progress in my business? As an example, if your business isn't in web design, you shouldn't be doing your own website, even if you like doing it. That's not making you any money. Hire someone else to do that. Admin work, email management, social media. If your business isn't in social media, you shouldn't be doing your own social media. That's something you should be hiring out over time. I did it my own social media until I got to the point where I just couldn't do it anymore by my own. Didn't have the time, and so I hired someone full-time, 40 hours a week to do that for me, because I have that much content and social stuff going on between the social channels and YouTube. And the guy that's editing this video right now, he edits all my videos for YouTube, social. He posts it up, helps produce my podcast and put it out there. He's fantastic. And so that was really a game changer for me. So ask yourself, what should you be doing? And then what is the highest priority things that you can delegate out that will still keep moving the business along, but that someone else can do, that someone else has a passion and a skill set, and that you don't necessarily have to do. Number 3, A players only. You gotta hire A players only. There's a phrase out there, you can have it good, you can have it fast, you can have it cheap, but you can't have all 3. That kind of goes along with what I'm saying here. It really irks me when I'm if I'm on a social media, neighborhood page, scrolling for maybe real estate referrals, and someone says, I need a fantastic general contractor that can remodel my home and make it look beautiful by next week, and I want them to be really affordable. So you want the best in the business. You want it to be done extremely fast, but you don't want to pay them what they're worth. That's the kind of mindset a lot of business owners have. Well, I want someone that's going to crush my social media. I want the best executive assistant money can buy, but I only want to pay them half of what they're worth. That is not going to get you to where you want to go. It's not going to get you to win. And eventually you're just going to burn money because you're going to keep hiring people that aren't going to do a great job. Back to that book, Entrepreneur Roller Coaster, Darren Hardy talks about the fact that statistically, research proves A players are free because they pay for themselves. They're going to free up enough time and get enough traction in your business that whatever you're paying them, if you're hiring the right people and paying them what they're worth, they're going to make you more money. They're literally going to pay for themselves. Or they will free up enough time that you will be able to make more money, because now you're going to have so much time and less stress that you're going to actually make a lot more money after you hire them. Now, my companies, I own 3 different businesses, consist of a variety of contractors. I've already talked about my real estate company, so I'll start there. Now, in that aspect, most of my company consists of agents who are commission only. But I also have my social media manager, and I also have admin, and I have a chief tech officer that handles all of our back end. So those people are independent contractors that get between $25 and $50 an hour to do that work. In my music company, same thing. Independent contractors getting anywhere from, again, about $25 to $50 an hour. In my Impossible to Fail, Rob Stein Enterprises, speaking, coaching, writing, sometimes those are independent contractors getting hourly fees. Sometimes they're people that are doing specific projects like building a website for $6,000 or something like that, or the person managing my Facebook ads. Those are all different payment structures, but I am paying a premium to get the best, because I've learned when I pay a premium to get the best, I get the best results. Less stressful for me because I don't have to manage them. I want to set it and forget it. I want to give, my chief tech officer, say, hey, here's the idea I have. Here's the systems we're going to build out. And he says, okay, I got it. And I don't have to stay on top of him. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to ask him how it's going. He's not going to send me something that's half-hearted and not exactly what I'm looking for. It makes my life so much better to feel confident in the people I hire, and that I'm actually going to make a lot more money, which I do because I hire the right people. They free up my time. They free up my brain. They free up my stress. And now I can go make more money. And the things they help me do are going to help me make more money. The products they help me build are going to make me more money. And I can build them fast and efficiently and with extreme excellence because I'm paying them what they're worth. So make sure you really hire A players. Another benefit of that is A players attract other A players. So if you really want the best of the best to want to come work for you, they're going to want to work with other great people. I mean, think about it. If you're watching this video, you're probably an A player, business owner or aspiring business owner. Would you want to go work somewhere with lazy people? Of course not. I bet if you're watching this video, you were like me and you were the kind of person that in public school, when you had group projects, which I always hated group projects because you just get paired with someone that probably doesn't care as much as you do. And if you're like me, which you probably are, you were the only person that you were like, why am I the only one taking this seriously? So hold on a second. My grade is going to be based on, the half-assed effort that you're making. And this is so frustrating, right? You wouldn't want to work with those type of people. Of course not. So A players attract other A players. So number one, they're free. They're going to make you more money and you're going to attract other A players to come work for you. So that is number 3. Really be careful about that. I also recommend that you have a very strict interview and vetting process. For my real estate company, I kind of hit on it briefly. We have a 34 question interview that's always the same. And sometimes it's amazing. I do sales and mindset coaching for some really big companies. And it's incredible when I talk to the owners of these companies and I'm like, what's your interview process like? And they're like, no, we didn't really have one. Well, what do you ask people when you're interviewing them? It's just kind of an organic conversation. Organic conversation? What? Are you serious? Hold on. What are you talking about? You got to have the systems in place. My interview questions are the same every single time. Now, if the person I'm interviewing is very unique or has a cool circumstance or a cool story, we might take some off ramps and take some tangents to keep exploring that. But we're always going to circle back to the same framework because I have it written down on my monitor and we have a little interview survey that I fill out and it's always the same questions. And there's a 5-step process. When someone wants to join my real estate company, they express interest. We start out with a 15-minute conversation. To 15 or 30 minutes to even get the idea of it. Is it even worth my time to explore working with this person and bringing them on? And if it's not, I'm just going to be real point blank and tell them, look, I appreciate your interest. I'm going to be honest. This is not going to work out. I don't think you're really who we're looking for, but I really do wish you the best of luck. And that's it. Cut it right there. Okay. If they get past that stage, then I send them a series of videos to watch and really get their thoughts on, hey, is this something you want to be a part of? That's step 2. If they say yes, step 3 after that is we have another phone call or in-person meeting to kind of answer their questions based on the video. If that all still goes well, then we schedule the interview, which takes 90 minutes to 2 hours and is 34 questions. Then if that goes well, they have a 90-day trial. That's the 5-step process. And because the reality is, gang, anyone's going to say anything in an interview. The references they give, no one's going to put a reference that's going to be like, this person sucks, right? Of course, the references are always going to be good. People are always going to talk themselves up during the interview. So if they get past all 4 of those steps, we have a 90-day trial where I'm very transparent in telling them, you need to prove all of the great things that I think about you through your actions. And we have all the terms of that trial written into their contract. So that's the 5-step process. It is very extreme. It is very rigid, but since I've really perfected that process and have implemented it, the people that I bring on are fantastic. And we have awesome retention because they're not leaving, because I'm bringing on the right people. Before I implemented all this stuff, it was kind of a rotating door of agents on my real estate team. And eventually I realized, like, it's not their fault. It's my fault. I shouldn't have hired them in the first place. And that really led to me figuring this stuff out. So you can learn from my mistakes by implementing these techniques. Last one, number 4, prioritize training your team. Do not just hire them and throw them into the deep end and be like, oh, thank God I hired someone. Good luck. And now they're going to be great. They're not going to be great. Even if they have a great resume and they have all the experience in the world, if they've never worked for you and know the ins and outs of your business, they need training. They need onboarding. You got to meet with them. You got to train them. You got to check their work. Now, at the beginning, if you're training someone for the first time, you may be a little frustrated and you may have the mindset of like, oh, it's just going to be quicker for me to do it. I'm just going to do it. And that's true. In the very beginning, when you're delegating and hiring and training people, it will be quicker to do it yourself. But then they're never going to learn. It would be like, the phrase, teach someone to fish and they'll eat for a lifetime, or give them fish and they'll eat for a day. So imagine if you're trying to teach someone how to fish and they're messing up and you're like, oh, just forget it. I'll just fish for you. They're never going to learn how to fish. You have to take the time to teach them so that eventually they can get really good. And once they get really good, once they develop that skill set, that's where the magic happens. That's where your life just gets so much better, because now you're reaping the rewards that you envisioned for yourself when you hired them in the first place. So you got to train them. You got to give them clear goals. You can't just say, okay, do your thing, do your skill set. What goals do they have, right? We have, for example, with my social media content creator, we have a meeting every Monday to talk about what's coming up for the week. We have a meeting every Friday to talk about, how did everything go and what's up for next week. And that's our system to make sure that, it takes, 30-minute meeting, but an hour a week, and set it and forget it, right? It's totally worth it. And once we went through a brief 3 to 4 week onboarding process, this guy's fantastic. And he's literally made my life so much better because he's learned my voice. He knows my branding. He knows my videos. He's just fantastic. And after that onboarding and training period, which did take some time, now he moves so quickly that he's really made a dramatic impact on my life and business. That's just a prime example of when you hire the right people and train them, give them clear goals, give them clear purpose, give them clear KPIs, which are key performance indicators. That's what you want. My real estate agents know what is expected of them. They're supposed to have at least 10 direct conversations a day. They're supposed to do at least 100 dials a day for cold calling, 6 open houses a week. They're supposed to get at least 3 representation agreements per month and 1 executed contract per month and 1 closing per month. Those are their KPIs. If they don't meet them, we have a talk, we have a probation, and if they still don't meet them, then they're off the team. You have to have KPIs, you have to have standards, and you have to hold people to those standards. Because what's the point of standards if you're not going to hold people to them? Really important as a business owner that you decide what type of standards you want and hold people to them. Grant Cardone has a great saying that I really love that was in Be Obsessed or Be Average, which is one of my very favorite books. And he said, on the topic of micromanaging, people tell me, man, I don't want to be micromanaged. And he said, I'm going to micromanage people until they don't need to be micromanaged anymore. I agree with that. I think really keeping your finger on the pulse of how people are doing is important, but there's a right way to do it. And so with micromanaging, now, what I mean by that is you got to make sure they're doing the job. When you bring on someone brand new, you need to be checking in with them daily. And if they don't like that, they're not a good fit for you. Just tell you that right now. They need to want the training, the accountability. Now, the thing is, when people say, I don't like it to be micromanaged, that's because most of the time you're just constantly correcting people and being super critical of them. When I really check in on my people, I'm asking them, hey, how's it going? Anything you need help with right now? What's your wins? What do you need help with? You good? Okay, cool. Brief little check-ins. When they mess up, that's okay. You need to give them permission to make mistakes, and don't be uber critical to whereas you make them feel bad about making the mistake, because they're definitely not going to want to work for you. You need to give them permission to make mistakes. You need to empower them to make mistakes, but you need to make sure that you're giving them the instruction that they need on how to improve. So you can't just be uber critical. You got to let them know, hey, you're doing these things real well, but these things, need to be improved, and here's exactly how you're going to improve them, okay? Awesome. All right, let's do it. And then when they improve it, you need to let them know right away, hey, we talked about you improving this and you did it, and I'm proud of the work you're doing. I notice it. Great work. Keep it up. You're a doer. You implement quickly. You got that instruction and you fixed it. That's awesome. That's exactly the kind of people we love here. A player, baby. Let's go. Right? And then they're going to feel excited. And then when they make a mistake, they're not going to be like, oh, they're not going to be all worried about it, because they're going to know that you're going to give them the tools they need to make it better. But allow them to make mistakes. Teach them how to not make those mistakes again, and reward them, even if it's just verbally, when they correct them the next time. Now, if they keep making the same mistakes over and over, it probably shouldn't be working for you. But it's okay for them to make mistakes. It's part of it. It's going to happen. It's a good thing. Just like you made mistakes and then you got better. They're going to do the same thing. So let's review the 4 tips. Number 1, culture is created by the people that work there. So make sure you hire people that have the character traits you want. Number 2, ask yourself what really needs to be delegated and act accordingly. Number 3, hire A players only. They're going to make you money. They're going to attract other A players. And number 4, prioritize training your team. Implement these 4 tips. It's going to be impossible to fail with hiring. Now, if you haven't done it before, there's still going to be some bumps in the road, and that's cool. Feel free to comment on this video, and I will respond as soon as I can. Now, you definitely want to like and subscribe to the channel so that you can be notified when all this great content comes out, because I'm putting out content every single week. Remember that as long as you're implementing these 4 techniques with building your team, it's really going to make the process a lot